see him being in like the gathering the clan or gathering the band,
i.e. the Doom Patrol or like Legion of Doom or whatever.
I see it more as like, let's introduce Batman to the story. Oh, by the way, we're looking in on his life right now, and he's chasing Deathstroke.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you've got, and then you'll have the Flash fighting Captain Boomerang.
They tried to do with Suicide Squad.
Like they tried to
failed for the most part.
We're all. Again, the motto for DC is let's hope the next one's better.
The motto is pay $30 to get the extended cut later.
That's their motto for sure.
Whoa! The one we brought out wasn't the real one, guys. You got to get the real one.
Of course, yeah. You have to get the real movie. It's like, well, then we'll just show the real movie.
Right.
We could go on about that forever.
Oh, I'm sure we could. Yeah, we can spend an entire episode just bitching about DC and Warner Brothers in particular.
Yeah.
Moving on, though, we'll talk about Netflix again.
Yes.
Dallin, you recommended as your fix of the week last episode.
The Lost episode.
The Lost episode. Yes, that's right. It is the Lost episode.
This is...
We had some weird issues with
3,
it.
4.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is 3 and 4.
Thor.
Episode 4.
There we go.
Yeah.
Episode Thor. Okay.
But for the Lost episode, you talked about Stranger Things and how you really enjoyed it. You convinced Scott and I to watch it, and we boast.
You boast.
We are boasting about it.
Yes, we boast about it. We both really love it. We think it's fantastic.
It's such a good show.
Yeah, great. I mean, and for I think the 8 episodes was perfect for it. I don't think you needed to do 10. 10 would have felt a little bloated, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I think the reason they did that, in a script, you do like 8 sequences. Like in a traditional 3-act. I'm sorry, this is the
let's get
screenwriting class now.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have your 3 acts, right, and 8 sequences. Usually 2 sequences in the first, and then you have 5, and then you tail off in the 3rd act. So, anyways, I think it worked perfect. Because of that, 8 sequences, 8 episodes, you got an arc on each one, and it worked out really well.
Yeah, and I think what I liked about it is it wasn't they advertise it as, hey, this is an 80s show like E.T., like these kid shows where the kids
Goonies,
things like that. But it didn't feel like that. That we actually avoided the biggest trope in those movies, which is adults are dumb. Yeah. And they do not listen to the children or anything like that.
Well,
there are still a few dumb adults.
There are a few dumb adults.
That's for sure.
I didn't know there was a bald 11-year-old in my basement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those parents are just
I call them like Mr. and Mrs. Oblivious. Yeah. That's their names from now on.
Dad, I don't know, honey, I'm eating dinner.
Yeah.
Every scene ever.
So that guy, there's a shot in the final episode where they're all waiting in the hospital in the waiting room. And the dad is asleep. Dad Oblivious is asleep. Yep. Yeah. And I turn to Scott and I go, that is like, that one picture describes that dad.
His whole life.
His whole character
is sleeping.
It's just not really caring about what's going on in the world around him, because he's probably working way hard, and that's all he does is he works, and that's it.
It got there were a few, it's fairly brutal at times. You know, even some of the scenes between the kids and stuff are kind of like
a couple fight scenes.
The
messed up arm.
bullies. The bullies were like a really big. Like, holy crap, because that escalated really quickly.
Jump off the cliff.
Yeah, this is a spoiler alert, I guess. I mean, obviously,
if you haven't, it's been out, what, 2 months?
We told you on the Lost episode.
Yeah,
you should have watched it.
Yeah, damn it.
But when they're walking up to him and they're like, "You're dead," and the kid just like pulls out a switchblade out of nowhere, I was like, wow, that escalated really fast.
Yeah. He went from
schoolyard bully.
You made me pee my pants to now I'm gonna gut you like a fish.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What kind of?
And then actually, I don't have the balls to kill you, so go kill yourself instead.
Exactly.
Jump off the cliff.
So, what? Something I loved about it, the music.
Yeah,
I loved the
good.
the synth music in it, and it kind of reminded me of like Tron and stuff.
Yeah,
and the soundtrack choices for the songs in it, like
the Clash in there.
Yeah, the Clash. I was gonna say, and so we all love it. Obviously, we just spent 5 minutes talking about it and reviewing it. But season 2's been confirmed.
Yes.
Now, season 1 left at a point where you didn't have to worry about if there was going to be a season 2. Like, it felt like at the end you're like, okay, I'm satisfied with this ending. Yes, there's a couple outstanding things. It's like, why did the girl not end up with Jonathan? Like, what happened there? I'm really not.
Why do Barb's parents not give a shit that she's dead?
Exactly. Like, that's a huge plot point. And everything.
Why is the chief delivering Eggos to a box in the woods?
Exactly. Yeah, like that's a little odd.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we kind of all know the answer.
Sure. Somebody barfed up a slug.
It's true. Yeah, and then all of a sudden found himself
baby Demogorgon.
Yeah.
Probably.
Maybe. I don't know.
It's either that or he is the baby Demogorgon.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like he's turning into one.
Yes.
Ooh, creepy.
I know,
that's
right?
That's very X-Files.
Now,
that's cool.
Now I came up with this crazy theory that...
Which I've heard it compared to.
Right, yeah.
Compared to the X-Files.
I think it's a lot like it.
So I came up with this crazy theory that every time that the universe just repeats itself, right? Mm-hmm. And every time that a new reality opens up this hole, the Demogorgon comes through and finds somebody and turns them into another Demogorgon, an incubated Demogorgon, right? Mm. And then that person, and then they, if they close the rift, great. If that Demogorgon dies, great, whatever. And then that person changes and becomes the Demogorgon and turns that world into the upside down world that we saw before, and the universe starts over with a new one to try and compensate for it. So it's like a reality shifting.
That's like New Avengers almost. That's pretty
very,
cool.
It is very crazy.
X-Files.
Yeah, it's very X-Files. So I mean, obviously that's a nutcase theory from a nutcase podcast host, but I'm excited for season 2. And Dallin, you said that they already released all the episode names.
Yeah, I think it's to draw some interest and maybe get people speculating just like we are.
Okay.
So I'll go through the episodes here. So the first one they're calling it Mad Max.
Okay.
So perfect 80s reference. Yep. I think they're going towards Road Warrior.
So the idea behind the first season was this Dungeons and Dragons thing, right?
Yeah.
So maybe these kids have changed what they're playing this season, because the Dungeons and Dragons theme kind of went hand in hand with
Hold on, do we even know it's the same exact actors? It could be a whole new
I think it is. I think it is, because I know they've still got David Harbour confirmed for Chief Hopper, so I think it's a continuation.
Okay.
So maybe they've gone away from playing Dungeons and Dragons, and now they're kind of this new Mad Max style of these kids are really enjoying that at the moment, is creating this new parallel. Like at the end of the last episode, when they're in the when they do the D&D game again and they fight the Hydra and kill it and everything, and it's all like and then he says that's the end of the campaign, and they're like, what, we have all these unanswered questions. It's like this parallel for the show itself.
Well,
so
why do you think they chose the Hydra?
Exactly. It's just like it cut off one head.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that being the first episode can give you kind of a hint in, hey, this is kind of the direction. It's going to be this little every person for themselves season.
And since it's a call to the 80s, I mean, you got to go 80s, so Mad Max.
Exactly, yeah. They better all have titles that are just 80s movies.
So we got Mad Max, Boy Who Came Back to Life. I'm guessing that's referring to Will Byers. Yep. Mm-hmm. The Pumpkin Patch.
Ooh.
The Palace.
Okay.
Let's see. The Storm. The Pollywog.
Ooh, okay.
Secret Cabin, which could be so many different 80s movies.
Yeah.
The Brain, and then The Lost Brother.
Okay,
So is that 8 again, or is that less?
It's 9.
So they're doing 9 this season?
Yep.
Okay, I'm okay with that. Seems like, I mean, that's a lot of things to get you excited for, because every single episode, once you figured out what the title was referring to, it became like
made a lot of sense.
Everything made a lot of sense. Like my favorite episode, I think, title at least, was The Flea and the Acrobat. I thought that was a really good
Okay.
That's when they discovered how to punch through to the other side. And
Yep.
It was really cool.
The Shadow Veil. And I gotta say, my favorite character is Mr. Clark. I think he's fantastic.
The science teacher.
Saturday, I'm on a date.
Yeah.
By the way, like, props to Mr. Clark.
I know.
The stereotypical super nerd science teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's
on a date with like
super hot Asian chick.
Asian chick.
I mean, obvious. That seems obvious.
It just I thought it was kind of funny.
But in the 80s, it wasn't that obvious. Like he was the first.
So
he made it cool.
I want to do a side note. In the 80s, one of my favorite things is we were joking about the whole series about how people do things in these 80s shows, and the other people around them just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They just don't care. So the two kids they're buying bear traps and gasoline and shells. And the shop owner's like, what are you kids doing with all this? And they're like, monster hunting. And he's like, it's $30. You know, I mean, like,
yeah, he just kind of shrugs
we
it off.
We were
like,
joking
whatever.
about that. I joked and I said that. I was like, look, he's going to ask what they're doing, and they're going to tell him, oh, we're going to go capture something, and he's going to go, whatever.
Right.
You know, and he did it, and something like it works.
Yes.
If it was like a 2000 show, 2010.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think it just shows you how innocent we were even that long ago. The kids are riding their bikes all around town, 10 p.m. at night.
Yeah,
riding through the middle of the woods.
Today that would never happen.
No, it would be, well, it's
or they'd
getting
be on the
late.
5
Let me
o'clock
come pick
news
you
or
up.
something.
You know, yeah.
It was also a really small town, so I'm sure
That-
I'm sure there was
that
a lot
kinda
of
helps,
like,
too.
yeah.
But it's a really good show, so go check it out and be excited for season 2 coming soon. Coming to theaters, not theaters. Just Netflix.
I wouldn't say soon. I'd
Netflix.
probably say
Probably a year.
A year.
Yeah.
That's soon.
We got plenty. We got
In
plenty.
dragon years.
We got plenty of Netflix stuff coming out to keep us occupied. So
yeah, let's continue on that. I mean, we got Luke Cage coming, and there's a petition for a new movie. So, Dallin, we showed you this footage. It's a mockumentary footage prepping you for Thor Ragnarok coming soon, where Thor has he's
taking a break.
He's taking a break,
Yeah.
and he moves to Australia, and he moves in with this guy Darryl. And it's just supposed to be this funny thing, you know, like linking, like, where was Thor in the Civil War? And it's like, well, neither team wanted him there, which I don't know why you don't want a god on your team. That's kind of dumb. Get the raging monster that can't control himself, but don't want to get Thor. It's like, okay, sure, whatever. But it's a really funny little 4-minute clip. It's got Mark Ruffalo in it. It's got Thor Odinson in it. It's got what's his name? What is his name? Chris Hemsworth. Thank you. And it looks really funny. Well, fans like it so much that now they're petitioning to make this a Netflix series, and that's really cool. And I want it to happen. It's not going to happen though.
Yeah, it'd be like a roommate comedy,
No.
but they're not going to
last a season.
Unfortunately, and I don't even think that Marvel's not going to take a character that they want most people to see as a serious, character they can sort of relate to. I guess he's a Norse god, so
you can't really relate
but
to him.
They're not going to turn him into a joke. Like they don't want to do that from a marketing standpoint. So the petition's not. I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
Well, I like how people think
funny.
they can get enough people to sign something, and all of a sudden, oh damn it, 100 people signed it. I got to do it now.
Exactly. Well, it's locked in, guys. Now, what I think Netflix can do with this is they can adapt it. They make a whole new superhero world, kind of like Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, where everybody's a little bit goofy. The main villain's a horse, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, bad horse.
Yeah, and you make this a roommate comedy with this hero who's from another world who doesn't understand things. Mork and Mindy. Make it Mork and Mindy with superheroes, and it'd be fine. Or the old British show we used to watch, My Hero.
Yep. If you know about the old BBC shows,
which that guy is just. I mean, it's this funny comedy where this guy, he's got all of Superman's powers, but he's from a completely different planet and doesn't know how humans work, and he has to act like a human. He even married a human who has human parents who don't know that he's an alien. Like, it's a very funny show, and I think Netflix could do something to adapt that, but if they want to do Thor, they're not going to get Thor, so stop trying to petition for stupid things.
Also, it costs them too much. It's like,
a
lot of people don't realize that movies nowadays are not just a thing. They are an investment. And not by us, not for us. They're just a thing for us, but for the people that make them, they're an investment. So that's why there's lots of concern about how much money they're going to make, and how well they're going to do.
You ever wonder what happened to John Carter? That's the same. That's the exact thing.
Yeah.
Their budget was too high, and they just didn't. It made a ton of money, just not enough money.
Yeah, they want 250%
investment
return, and which I hate. I love it and I hate it. On the one hand, I love the fact that now there are so many people that are willing to invest in these movies to try to do well that we can get really high budget, really awesome shows. On the other hand, I hate the fact that if it doesn't reach the goal that they expect, they just can it and they're done.
Dread.
Dread. Exactly. Perfect example.
Yeah.
I was just clearing my throat.
Right.
Yeah. Deadpool is actually another really big example of something that breaks that mold, and how it basically had like half of its budget it was supposed to, and it still made a fantastic movie.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I like movies that do that. They're focused more on making a good movie. They don't care what their budget is. They're just going to make a movie, and